All right, so today is election day. And like I said, when it comes to this course, I think it's important to note that when it comes to our foundations of Western civilization, what we started off with the church, with religion, that's a big, big foundation that many people, unfortunately, today forget about. Right. Anyway, when it comes to Christianity, okay, when it comes to Christianity, that's an important part of our country. It's an important part of Western civilization. Again, that most people just kind of slip their mind. Anyway, we just talked about settlements as well with the Pilgrims, Puritans, how they're trying to find a new settlement, a new place here where they can express their religion freely. And I just wanted to make sure I noted that before we move on. Right? Without religion, well, chances are we won't have democracy. We won't have the ability to elect our officials in and have our voice heard. And we get to choose what our government looks like. So that's important. Obviously, we all know, right? Kamala Harris and President Trump are duking it out here for this 2024 election. So real quick, how does it work? So when you're 18, well, first things first, you got to register to vote. So I'll show you the website where to go. You just go to the state website and then you can find where you can register to vote. You don't do that, well, you can't vote. So typically the deadline is 15 days before the election, right? There might be some situations where if you can maybe register after, but for the most part, 15 days and then it closes. So you can find it on the website, even social media. Like if you ever go on social media, a lot of times they'll have this deadline there. It's like, hey, click the link. It'll take you right to the voting register website and you can register to vote. So why might you have to re-register if you have a name change? So get married, right? Obviously, you might have a name change. I don't know why else you maybe change your name. Certain situations maybe, but that's one reason. Another reason is if you move. So if you move to another area, obviously your address is going to be different. You're going to be living in a different area. So they need to accommodate for that. So if you move, well, you got to register in a different, obviously, situation. If you guys go to college, right? If you guys go to college, a lot of times they'll have areas there where you could register towards the college and vote in that certain area. Obviously, you're far away from home, maybe, right? Depending on where you go to college. So that's important to know. Also, if you change political affiliation, so if you change your party, right, for whatever reason, right, if that happens, which happens more than you think, you are also, liable to change, but chances are that doesn't happen too often. Maybe this voting cycle a little bit different for sure. In any case, those are reasons why you might have to re-register. But anyway, like I said, you go to the link here, which again, you have to be 18. So sorry, guys, in here. But you go to the link, it'll take you right to it. Anyway, I'll go back to that. Actually, I'll do it right now. Here's the website. Here's what it looks like. So as you look through the registration website, there it is. So you'll fill out your name, fill out this important information, and then you're registered to vote. So when you vote, when you go to your municipality, your local area where you would vote, you would just say your name, and they'll have you in documentation, and then you'll just sign off. You just give your signature, and then that you're registered to vote. They'll give you a ballot, which I'll pass around now, actually. Here's what the ballots look like around here. Certain areas, well, you might have a computer screen. You might vote in a different type of situation, different, like let's say a larger population, you might have that. But you guys ever take Scantrons before? Yeah, it's like a Scantron almost, where you fill in a bubble and then you just send it right through the machine and it tallies the vote. So I'm going to pass these around, just take a look, and then you can just pass it forward and just kind of snake it around. Anyway, that's what the ballot looks like. Again, this is just a specimen here. It's not like anyway, people can fill it in, we'll take it over. No, that's not how it's going to work. Anyway, that's how you register. So make sure you guys remember that again when you're 18 and it's coming time to vote. That's important. All right, race to 270, like I just talked about. So when it comes to the electoral votes, which you guys do, good job. I was really happy to hear that. When it comes to House Representatives, 435 plus 100 in the Senate, right? And then plus 3 in Washington, D.C. So that's important to know. So 270 is the magic number that when it comes to this presidential election that they're trying to reach. So tonight you'll see it. All right, tonight you'll see it all over the broadcast, all over different types of news sources and even social media, where they're going to be presenting the map and they're going to try to predict, right, whether or not these states will turn blue or red. So within the video, I explain a little bit about swing states. Obviously, Pennsylvania is one of the key swing states. When it comes to deciding the election, Pennsylvania has decided almost all of them. So it's important to note that some election cycles it goes red, sometimes it goes blue. All right, the video also mentioned about certain states that are solid, right, when it comes to either Democratic or Republican. California, one of the big ones, obviously, when it comes to electoral votes, 54, right? That's usually always blue, right? Always has been since Ronald Reagan, honestly, in the 1980s, right? Well, George H.W. Bush might have won it as well, but in any case, usually solid blue. New York, usually solid blue, and I believe it's in Maryland too. But with the Republican side of things, Florida, Texas, right, Ohio, right, those are usually solid red, Republican. But in any case, with these electoral votes, you can see some states that have more numbers, a bigger number than others. Right, so when it comes to these electoral votes, some states have a larger number based off of population. All right, one thing to note too, with the Electoral College, a lot of people gripe and say, oh, we should maybe ban it, we should go back to the popular vote, which a lot of people have some obviously good backing for it. But the reason for it is that so certain smaller states weren't forgotten about, right? So in order to win this, you're gonna need you need a coalition of these smaller states that might have smaller numbers when it comes to electoral votes. But those add up, they really do. In any case, for the election, the campaigning of both candidates, a lot of time they're in Pennsylvania, they're in Michigan, right? They're in parts of North Carolina, right? These are big areas when it comes to swing votes. Right, that's something important. They call them purple states, right? Because they could be blue, they could be red. There's two states though that do it a little bit different. Anybody knows those two states? Katie?
Maine and Nebraska.
Yeah, Maine and Nebraska. So their electoral votes are a little bit different. So depending on the vote itself, right, you might actually get one candidate that gets one or two, who knows, right? Or you might get one that has like 3 or 1, depending on electoral swing. So it's not like they get full all electoral votes if they win that state. It's kind of a balance, which a lot of people argue and say maybe that should be the new move forward. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I just want to talk about Electoral College and give you guys a little bit of insight how it looks. All right, so previously in 2020, this is what it looked like, right? So as you're going to look at the map today, as they go through it on a news broadcast, this is what you'll see. Obviously, maybe a little bit different. So every race, there's obviously the swing states kind of go back and forth, teeter-totter, either red or blue. So yeah, obviously things might be a little bit different. In any case, hopefully we can figure this thing out tonight, but chances are it might last a few days, hopefully not a week. Last election cycle, just because of mail-in ballots, we didn't really see a winner until that Saturday. So yeah, it takes some time, obviously, with mail-in ballots. All right, with mail-in ballots, it's kind of a new thing. Obviously, COVID brought this out, and it was one of those things where people could vote in the luxury of their home. All right, some people might like to look at a candidate, do the research. That's why they get the mail-in ballot. But for the most part, this was designed for people overseas. So when it comes to military, obviously people that are fighting overseas, protecting our values overseas, they usually get a mail-in ballot. They obviously always do. So that's kind of opened up a different type of phenomenon where counting the votes is a little bit more difficult to do within a night. So that's something to think about too. All right, so here's 2020 when it comes to the state of Pennsylvania. Again, a key swing state. And like I mentioned, when it comes to electoral votes, every 10 years they do a census to see exactly how many electoral votes each state will receive. Pennsylvania in 2020 was 20. Now it's 19. So you can just imagine the population kind of fluctuating back and forth. California was 55. Now they're down to 54. I believe Texas, they jumped up 2. They jumped up 2 electoral votes. So they're at 38 in 2020, and they jumped up to 40. For this election cycle. Florida, same thing, right? A lot of that had to do with COVID, with a lot of the restrictions. A lot of people moved out of these larger states when it comes to New York, California, and they moved to more southern states that are a little bit looser on these guidelines. So like Texas, Florida, for instance. All right, anyway, as you can see with the map, wow, a lot of counties here are red. But you can just imagine with the 2 big cities, major cities, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, typically are pretty dark blue. So a lot of times when it comes to election cycles, people look at this and say, hey, that's not very representative. Right? These 2 cities kind of dictate what happens, which, yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against that. Obviously, with Dauphin County, where we're at, Harrisburg has a big sway in things as well. And sometimes that goes red, sometimes that goes blue. So with our county especially, that's typically sometimes a swing when it comes to either being a Republican state or a Democratic state. Anyway, I just want to give you a heads up too. You just look at how close this was, 50% to 48.8%. This tally was just a margin of 80,000 votes, which I know that sounds a lot, but in all reality, it's not. It's not. So anyway, just give you guys a heads up what it looks like. All right, so let's see how we do. All right, I'll let you guys, obviously it's not gonna record you. It's not gonna obviously see who you decide, but just scan the QR code, give a vote, and we'll see the results. We'll see the results. So I know you guys aren't old enough here to actually vote, but we'll see where results are in here. It should be fun. See what we do. What we got? Anyway, here we go. Anyway, did everybody get to see the ballot? Everybody get to see that? I see them here. Yeah. All right, guys, as you can see in the ballot, there are some choices here that aren't typical to the party, right? Choices, you might get a third party, you might get a green party, which typically is a third party, but in any case, right? Just wanted to show you guys. You could also write someone in. Right, if you write someone in, so typically doesn't work too well, but then if you really wanted to do that, that's fine. All right, did everybody vote? Yes.
Yeah, this is required.
It doesn't let you write in?
It says this is required.
Why wouldn't it write it?
Oh, well, yeah. If I made a business. Both. All right, we can't do both, but anyway. Everybody vote. Everybody do their vote here. Let's see who won. See who won. All right, so we're looking at our summary here. Looks like Trump won.
Yeah.
Did he get a few Green Party votes? Okay. All right, 2 for Democratic Party. All right. And then write-in responses. Trump is cool. Kanye West, LeBron, Saquon. Okay. Anyway. I think you made it satiated. Anyway, whatever. All right, guys. Hey, just wanted to talk over, give you guys a little bit of an insight. And yeah, when you're 18, register to vote and it's your important civic duty. So good stuff. There we go.